Hey everyone, Boardgame Brody here with Meeple Mountain. I have a prototype copy of Rulebenders, a game coming to Kickstarter by Game Brewer. Rulebenders is a hand management, card drafting, area control game about changing the rules to bend the game to your favor. You will be traveling through multiple themes in the game while you are also changing the rules to help you get the most points in the game. After 4 rounds, whoever has the most chips wins the game and is declared the ultimate rulebender. Here are 5 things you need to know about this game. Number 1. Playing the game is pretty simple, but mastering the game might take some time. I say the game is simple because on your turn you have the choice to either place a cube on the board or play a card paying its costs. Sounds pretty simple to me. You will of course be making more decisions than that, but the game is one of those games where you will make a lot of these simple decisions and overall they will form your strategy. But again, the game is hard to master because you are making a lot of these simple decisions. Number 2, the rules in the game. As you might know, the game has some set of rules that are set, but can change between rounds as well. Each panel on the outside of the board lists 1 rule each, and if you look in the middle of each panel, it'll show you an icon matching what the rule is about. Let's check them all out. This rule is about card hand limit. Since the marker is on 7, you can have a maximum of only 7 cards in your hand at a time. Now, players can also modify this rule by advancing their own player token one way or another on this player track advancement area. So if on this spot, this player could have a hand limit of 9, or if on this spot, they would have a hand limit of 5. Each rule has a way to change the rule by moving the marker to another choice on the board and also by moving your personal disc, modifying each of the rules. Again, you have a base rule and then each player can modify that rule individually. This rule is about the theme of the cards that you can play. To change this rule, you'll be able to move the marker to whatever theme you'd like to be active. Now visiting your personal disc that modifies the rule, when it's on this spot, you can't play any theme cards. This one lets you play cards of the active theme. This one lets you play the cards that match the active theme and the theme that's opposite of the active theme on the board. This one lets you play cards from the active theme and the cards from the neighboring themes on the left and right of the active one. And lastly, this one lets you play any theme card in your hand that you would like. This rule is the number of new cards that you draw at the beginning of each round, up to your hand limit. And then your personal disc can also modify this up or down. This rule will determine the number of chips gained at the beginning of each round, and who might be the first player. The first player will gain 2 chips, while the others will gain 1. Unless, of course, their personal marker is up or down, giving them more or less chips in each round. This rule here determines the number of cubes players gain each round, with the chance of players' personal markers modifying it to whatever the rule states, of course going up or down. This rule states the method of currency when a card is played. There are energy cubes, chips, or other cards that can also be used for currency in the game. And each one also lists a secondary currency listed smaller on the right. When visiting the personal evolution track, this spot with all others to the left lets you pay using the current currency. This spot lets you pay using the current currency or the secondary currency. And this last spot here lets you pay using any type of currency that you would like. This last panel displays the type of exchange token that each player gets at the beginning of each round. During your turn, players can spend these tokens to exchange items of 1, 2, or 3 of the same type, depending on their token, into 1 of another type. And if your personal disc is on this spot, you cannot use these exchange tokens. This one lets you exchange with the depicted amount using the current currency on the currency rule board, and this one lets you exchange the depicted number of the same type of items for either the current currency or the secondary currency. And lastly, this one lets you exchange items of the same type for any type of currency. Number 3, what a typical turn looks like. So on your turn, you can either place an energy cube on one of the 7 rule panels in the big box area on the board, or in the leftmost available space on the tiebreaker track, or you can play one of your cards by paying the number of whatever the active currency is to play the card. There are fuel cards, which are one-time effect cards, or dashboard cards that have their title underlined, and they will stay out in front of players until the end of the game. The cards all give various abilities that even sometimes let you break other rules to gain the upper hand in an area. The cubes will add to the area majority mechanic in the game, which I will explain right now in number 4, changing rules and scoring points between rounds. So I went over the rules, or how the rules can potentially change during the game, but how do the rules exactly change and who does it? Well, at the end of each round, each rule is evaluated to see who has the most energy cubes in that area. The player who has the majority will be able to change the token for the main rule and place it on whichever location they would like to, changing up that rule. Then in addition, the winner can also move their evolution marker one step in any direction. You might be thinking, why would someone want to move down on some of these tracks? And that's a valid concern, as usually moving up to the right will help you increase your advantage for the specific rule, while moving it to the left gives you a disadvantage. But if you move your marker either way to the very end of either side, there is an electron or a nuclear token. These give you a certain number of chips, which is the way to score points and to win at the end of the game. The electrons, however, give you more chips than the nuclear tokens do because you have to get some negative effects to get them. You will do this by either bumping into them during the game while you move your personal disc over, and or by claiming them at the end of the game. A good strategy might be to go to the right to get the positive effects at the beginning of the game, and then try to get to the left to be able to win some of those big electron tokens at the end of the game. There are also possible multipliers that can be added to certain tokens to give you double the amount of points, and these multipliers are added by using card effects that you play during the game. Anyways, each panel or rule is done the same way, and players change the rules a little and then move their personal evolution disc up or down, or even moving their personal disc twice if they played a flexo card that matches that rule section. If at any time there is a tie for majority, players go to the tiebreaker track, and players can decide from left to right if they want to add their tiebreaker cube onto the rule panel to win majority. But cubes on this track move down each round and can fall off without being used to break a tie, and will only give you 1 chip in return. So if you add it to this track, you might want to use it when you can. Now, it's also important to know that energy cubes will stay on the board unless you win the majority. And after you change the rule how you want it and move on the evolution track, then your cubes are all removed except if they are located in the locked areas. So players can plan in the future getting majority after another player wins majority that round. Number 5, scoring points at the end of the game. So you bent the rules how you wanted them, and you played a bunch of cards to help you do that. Well, some of those cards, the ones that have stated that you needed sets to score them, will grant you chips at the end of the game. Each electron and nuclear token are flipped over, if not already claimed, and the player closest to these tokens will gain the listed amount of chips. And remember, some of these might also have multipliers giving you even more chips. If players tie in locations for these, they both score the listed number of chips. Players will then add up all their chips, and the player with the most is the ultimate Rulebender.
Congratulations, you survived mighty dinosaurs, traveled past a cosmic nebula, had encounters with an angry dwarf, danced with a whirling dervish, shared a bottle of rum with Blackbeard, and survived a toxic zombie. But most of all, you bended the rules of the game better than anyone else. You won the game, and you can rightfully gloat about your exploits until the next time you activate this machine. Until then.
And these are the 5 things you need to know about this game before you back it, before you play it, or before you even think about it. So get ready to travel through time, bending rules with your family and friends in Rulebenders by Game Brewer. Again, this is Boardgame Brody. I hope you enjoyed this video. Stick around and check out some other board game reviews to see what you might want to get to the table.